Boom! Welcome back, everybody. This is the reaction show to Southwick. And this is my new favorite flavor of Liquid Death. Yes, it is sparkling water. And I love it because it doesn't look just like water. Yeah, I'm the guy at the party that's like, yeah. Anyway, Top Dog, appreciate you. This stuff is incredibly good. But no, here. We got to look at this. Bum, because this was the highlight of the entire race. Was this pass on Levi Kitchen. And Stewart said that it seemed like it was somewhat of a mistake because it got slide out. But this was honestly the passing point of both 250 and 450 because you had Hunter pass Sexton, pass Jet there, and then Sexton ended up using it as well. But Dangerboy Deegan was pretty much the one that stamped it and said, hey, we're going to quad down the hill in the sand, and I'm just going to do it as a Bubba Scrub flat. Maybe it didn't look as nice as what Stewart would do. But anyway, Deegan makes sure he gets it done. And for my title, saying that he was pissed, absolutely he was pissed when he went down. And if I'm jumping on the bandwagon here, he gets in his own way. He gets in his own head. Tom Viall, yes, I am a fan of Tom just because of the sheer ability to kind of take out of the whole social media. I think here in America, there's a bunch of drama that gets created and misinformation out there. Wink, wink, wink. Because, hey, look at this. Look at this. Do. This SOB, as far as Deegan, look at him. Was he 6 seconds a lap slower than everybody, including his teammate? No. His minimum lap time was 2:14. And at the end, after he got pissed and ended up winning the moto, 2:16 to Tom Viall's 2:20, 2:21. 2:18 is when he really tried to get back around Joe. Joe was 2:19, 2:18, 2:17. Deegan just throwing it down freaking 25 minutes into the race. Deegan is on fire. I don't know if this guy is going to get beat all season long. He's won 4 out of the 5 races. He won the first moto. Actually, Joe ended up beating him and winning that second moto, which if we're talking about Honda for a second there, Hymas was sort of taking the seat as, hey, I'm the better motocross rider for the 250 class. And that had to have put a fire under Joe because Joe has been the top dog ever since he moved teams there to be with the Lawrence brothers. And so it's good to see him get a moto win again. And that's going to just bombard his confidence into the future for the season because Deegan has a substantial lead. He almost has a 2-race lead on everybody. And if I am talking about the series just a little bit, man, for the dynamic of having a guy that wins first moto and finishes third still would beat somebody that gets 2-2 because of the point swing, because you get points per moto. Normally us nostalgic guys or race any sort of amateur motocross or local motocross, it's always second moto breaks the tie. So a 2-2 would be 4. Second moto breaks the tie from a 1-3, but that win is 25 points as opposed to 23 points. You get that bonus. So I don't know. I wish it was different. I really do. I wish that little key aspect was different, but I understand that it makes it more of a series of, hey, here's now multiple motos because now there's 11. So what is that? 22 motos where it used to be 24. But the whole ideology that Max was so much faster than Deegan is complete silly. And what I believe is going on with Max is the same thing that went on with Ty, is you jump from a bike that you're used to, and then you jump on a different bike, different team. You don't really have quite enough of, I would say, testing involved, because that's really the factory teams. That's really what they have as their advantage, is they've got just resources out the wazoo. You can do whatever the freak you want to the bike, triple clamps, all sorts of adjustments with bolts and whatnot. And yeah, there's teams out there that are bridging that gap, notably Club MX. They've got some really top riders that are able to get that somewhat closed down because their resources are quite a bit bigger. But unfortunately, it looked like that second moto, Finis on that club bike wasn't able to get it started. Same thing that happened with Nicoletti and Supercross in round one. So those bikes are built to freaking the moon so that they can compete with these other motorcycles. And Triumph, yes, I'm kind of starting with the 250 class. Triumph, man, dude, in MXGP, they're doing well by getting on the podium and stuff. But here in America, with Swole blowing up his bike late in the moto when it wasn't that hot, I don't know. It's not the best look. And maybe it's the lack of resources compared to the cost of spending from the other teams. And there's a devil's advocate there because Joey Savacci ended up going 5-6. He probably should have gone 5-4, but he let a couple riders, Smith and Hymas, get around him late in Moto 2. So he had his best ride. So he's got some confidence going as well. And Levi Kitchen, man, with the red flag, dude, him getting both hole shots, he's much more of a Supercross technical rider than a full-blown motocross elbows down Ricky Carmichael style. I'm just going to just see where this runs, and I'm going to make all sorts of different mistakes. Hey, I see the comments you guys are making. Hey, appreciate it. I can get back to them here soon. But yeah, he went 1-2, got the overall for Deegan. Yes, you know, I did say that. Joe did win Moto 1, which was cool to see, because talking with Joe, he seemed a little bit on edge when I talked to him in Lakewood. He was just like, dude, I don't know what the heck's going on. I'm trying, but I got to do something. I got to do something different. And that's the same thing that's going on with Sexton. But I'll talk about the 450s here in just a little bit. With Tom, dude, man, that's my dude. He was riding hard the second moto. In order for him to beat Deegan, he needs to pass Deegan from the start and try to run away. And yes, that second moto, when he caught Deegan and put pressure on him, because I'm going to say 1000%, that is why Deegan ended up going down. Here, do I have a picture of it? I might have some sort of a picture of it here. Let me see if I can put this over here. Front end swaps out or goes over the berm, and he's just trying to not let Tom get close to him at all. And then he got pissed, and what happened? His mechanic ended up saying, smooth, catching 16. So you know that this kid is just breeding confidence. And back to my whole point with Tom is Tom just should have been faster late in the moto. He shouldn't have gotten caught, because that was his fault as to why he lost that race and potentially that overall. Because if he would have went one and then Deegan would have gotten that third, well, he would have gotten the overall, and that would have been a good boost of confidence for him. Yes, he's a more mature individual. He's in his early 20s, but you know, he's honestly about the same age, I think, almost as Sexton, 22. I know Sexton is 24, but that's pretty close. Jet, we always think of Jet not as a young man. We think of him as a little bit more mature, but I think he's like 21 years old. So 21, 22, right? Real close to, maybe he's even 20. Anyway, I'll look it up once I get off the live stream here. I was camping with the family and ran back so that, you know, I could do this freaking live show, right? Because I still am passionate about this effing sport. I love this sport. I love the people involved in this sport. Most of them. Some I can do without. Yeah, especially reek. Anyway, gotta have some more liquid death here, right? Because that is a fun segue to today's video sponsor. We've got Precision Transport. These guys are a freight company. They're looking for freight directors that are looking for dispatches, so they can really add most value to them. But if you need something to get delivered, if it needs to be refrigerated or it needs to be dry, it needs to be across the country, he will get you the best price possible. And if not, he will get you involved with somebody that can get you a better price. So these guys are awesome. I love them, what they've done, the support of the channel. They're big moto guys. They're actually big jiu-jitsu guys. They own a gym as well. But that number is 877-827-0618. But that was the pass of the race for sure. And that's what ended up happening in the 450 class, because catching back up, Tom Bial shouldn't have let them catch him. And then the pressure got to him. Ironically, he got the pressure to Deegan, and then he got the return end of the stick once Deegan was catching him. And Deegan has a way with words. He is great at that battle off the track, which is awesome, which is something that Jason Lawrence used to excel at. Man, could you imagine the days of social media with the guys of Josh Hansen and Jason Lawrence being able to use that stuff to their full extent? Dude, be freaking epic. Be epic. That is something that I miss about this whole thing. But if I'm moving on to the 450 class, Jet looked like he's more so healed. However, there's that kink in the armor from people. People understand that he can be beat now. And it's good to see that his brother is not willing to take slack from him anymore. He is going to push it when he needs to push it. Of the two of them, I believe Hunter is a more laid back, smoother rider. He's not as technical as Jet, but if he sees Jet do something, he has the skill to do it as well. But he's not going to be the innovator in the races like Jet would be. And Jet, man, for being as young as he is, like I said, that 20 to 22 years old, the dude is not immature. 1000% not immature. He's not going to take a pass super personal and then just throw himself on the ground to make a statement. Yeah, you could argue at Hangtown that he was trying to make a statement after they cut the jump down, because he was somewhat trying to go F you to the series and the teams by having everyone say that this was a dangerous jump, but I'm the only one that's able to do it. Yeah, he was trying to show through his level of skill that he's just that much better than everyone, and it bit him in the butt. But my point here is he gets past and he lets his brother go. He collects himself, saves his energy, because the track at Southwick, dude, just think of a whoop section just 24/7. I know when we go practice, think of yourself in the woods, right? When you've just got a long roller section that you love because you feel like you're blitzing the whoops. It's da 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 da, but just make those things 3 times as high, make them sharper, and you've got a Southwick track on you. Sand is really hard to ride in because you have to constantly be squeezing the motorcycle because it's fighting you. The sand is pushing you. The sand is pushing on the G-forces when you're slowing down. Like, you do not want to use the brakes. I will do it in my breakdown a little bit this week, but these guys would come into corners and they'll be in a higher gear and you'll hear them go, and they'll won't touch the brakes, because if they touch the brakes, it's so much harder to accelerate. And that sand is going to push them, going to push their front ends. And it's hard to find a flow, because if you don't stay on top of those bumps and you drop down below them, it's just a lot of wasted energy. That's why you'll see these guys really try to lift that front wheel, and they'll be more back on the bike, because if your elbows are back on the bike, you are not pushing against inertia. You can ride with it, because the last thing you want to do, especially on a track like that, is hold on to the handlebars too hard, because you're not going to use your clutch anymore. You're probably not going to use your front brake at all, even though you normally wouldn't. But even the throttle will start to get hard to turn, and your hands they'll go to sleep, and then you're essentially effed, because you're now just in panic mode trying to go back. And that's one thing that I believe these riders excel at, is they're able to overcome stuff. It's almost like, here's the analogy, when you drink too much liquid death and then you go for a run or you go work out or something, and then you get that side cramp and you're like, I can't push it all. Well, you're pretty much screwed. But the pros are able to take that side cramp, somehow regroup, have it go away, and then continue to go. Almost like get arm pump and then not get arm pump. Usually, us normal folk, you get arm pump, you're screwed. There is no regrouping whatsoever. And that is a perfect example of what Sexton does. Is that first moto, he got dropped and just smoked by both Hunter and Jet. However, I'm going to nickname him the effing Bulldog, because A, you don't want to mess with this dude. He's the biggest guy on the track. He's the fittest guy on the track. Biggest as he's like the most built. So you don't want to get an altercation with this guy on or off the track. And Hunter somewhat saw that end where Sexton made a really aggressive pass on him, but Hunter was able to do the Deegan line, which I will show the Deegan line one more time, and basically quad coming up off this single and going up to the corner. Sexton was able to see it. Once he started to do that, he ended up making the same pass to his brother Jet. And this was the first race that Jet really got passed straight up, not only by his brother, but also sorry, I'm reading comments here. That's what I love about the live shows here, guys. Steezy, yeah, totally. Agree. Uh, and you get the joke anyway. So I appreciate you guys. Oh, Jesus. So anyway, my train of thought. Okay, Sexton was able to pick up on that and finally get around both of them, but Jet got passed straight up by his brother and got straight up by Sexton, right? And there's no excuse anymore because you can't use the excuse that Jet is hurt anymore. Yes, it's been a few races, okay? And that's really not enough time to really heal. He probably should take 3 or 4 races off, but he's trying to win a championship. However, in the minds of everyone else, especially the guys that are on the gate, and I would say the GC contenders, the top 3 here, you've got Sexton, Hunter, those 2 guys particularly, they are going to smell blood, and they smell blood. And this is how they were able to have the confidence to not just ride up on a guy. Okay, because any racer out there, you know what I'm talking about. If you show up at a practice day and there's a guy that is winning your series, whether it's the vet B class or it's the novice class or it's the pro class, right? If you get in behind them and you start hanging with them, you're like, sweet, man, I'm going really fast. I'm going really fast, right? And then you go to race, you get up on that guy and you're like, oh, I just need to keep up with them. And then you get stuck in their pace. You don't start looking past them. That's one of those things that is hard to get through in the sport of motocross, is to try to look past those guys, not focus in on a wheel in front of you, especially a jersey name, but look past, pretend that it's just a time trial and nobody else is on the track. Well, Jettis shot himself in the foot because of his mistake at Hangtown. And now you've got his bigger brother and the bulldog, Sexton, being able to look through you. So Jet is going to need to have a couple motos that just decimate the field in order to get that back, where riders are now going to focus on his jersey name rather than just looking through him. And as far as Sexton goes, at this point in time, I believe Sexton has a better shot of winning the series than Hunter does, just because of his raw speed and his ability to go from getting his ass kicked to now kicking ass. It's crazy that he's able to do that. Yes, could that be some setup between KTMs? Yeah, but he's got the ability to make moves and push people around. Hunter, I believe he's just stuck in the pace that he has. Yes, he has top tier 1% pace in the world, but he also needs some luck on his side. Sexton, he's got that card in the back where he can ride 120% and actually run the pace of Jet. Hey, Barnes20, appreciate you. Thanks for subscribing. You guys are the backbone to this channel, and I can't say enough about you SOBs. I mean that in the kindest way possible, okay? You guys are basically like close friends, right? Brother from another mother is how I would definitely put that. But we have a crazy dynamic here coming for Redbud. And what's crazy about Redbud is I'm actually leaving right now to go back up to the mountains to go camping, because it's 4th of July weekend, which should have really be Redbud 4th of July weekend. It's kind of like, okay, how am I going to get drunk and party at Redbud when 4th of July was the weekend before? It's just crazy how the dates happened. Redbud really should have been this weekend, not next weekend, in my opinion. But I'd have to look back to see if that's always how it's been, or it's just because of leap year or some shit that happened that 4th of July ends up on a Thursday. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of semantics that has nothing to do with moto. But yeah, that and the Tour de France, dude, the crazy month going on here, because those tiny little dudes that can just pump out wall power is fun to watch, right? I personally, if I'm sharing some thoughts to you, bicycles are becoming more of a dear heart in in me than sometimes moto does, because as an older guy, there's something that happens when you get older. I've always heard that like in 26, the brain chemistry changes in the male brain, where you start paying attention more, and you're starting to be like, I don't want to get hurt as bad. And then especially if you have some gnarly stuff happens, you kind of have some PTSD from it. And all of you got, most of the guys here in the view, I don't want to say most, because I don't want to put you guys in a box. But generally speaking, there are some of you out there that has had some gnarly stuff happen with motorcycles that exactly, like I'm speaking into your soul here about that whole thing. And we'll end it with this. Okay. Well, first I will say, here, look at me using some filler words live here, but point standings. Okay. 3 points, Chase Sexton and Jet behind Hunter. Freaking epic dynamic. And yeah, here, let me zoom that in so you guys can see that on the stream here, because yeah, it is live. So bear with me here. 3 points. 3 freaking points. Crazy. This giant zero here, what a wasted effort by Jet at Hangtown. It showed how tough he was to finish, but not having any points, boom, that is disgust. That has got a sting for sure. But backing up, because I'm digressing, Adam Cincerilla. It's a good segue of what I'm saying about like PTSD and hey, it's time to kind of take a step back. The dude has a lot of injuries with the unlar nerve in his wrist and his arm, with it going numb. It's going, hey, you need to take a little step back. But dude, that guy, incredibly concise. His questions to Stewart were magnificent. That guy definitely needs to be in the booth or have a code deal with Jason Thomas, because that was great. See that AC was interviewing the 450 guys and Jason Thomas was interviewing the 250 guys. I wonder if there's any sort of ego trip going there, because Jason Thomas, he's a built dude, right? He's a built dude. You could see him sticking his chest out like, damn, but AC ends up coming in, has a little bit of seniority. Jason Thomas, very well-spoken individual as well. That is a good duo. The sport is healthy. The sport is doing some stuff here. And oh, by the way, little teaser. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying it, because my buddy Jace, Bud ended up going on a show. So I'll make sure you stay tuned for that, because then you'll get the whole story about the whole Glen Helen stuff. But till next time, guys, keep it WFO and let's party like it's 1999. Is that the saying? Let's take some liquid death and chug it and shoot some Roman candles at each other. Really don't do that. But, if there's somebody out there that you want to do that to, just point it right at them and boom, 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 boom. Don't need to respond at all, especially having your name in the title. But if you get what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying. Till next time, keep it WFO. Love y'all, especially you two-wheeled knuckleheads.